1st, 2025. This is HOA Today. HOA Today is brought to you by Zayuk Smart Property System. Zayuk Smart Property System is built for HOAs and condos. If you're an owner in an HOA or condo and you're having difficulty with your property, you are having difficulty managing your vendors, your manager, if you're getting managers coming in and out, or you're not able to keep a manager, if your assets are deteriorating, the property is deteriorating, we provide an inspection service as well as a software platform for your property to understand and maintain the information in a digital twin context. And when we say digital twin, we mean 3D models, integrated reserves, living reserve study, and we also provide a lot of but standard property tech features such as collections and work orders or violations, also a voting system as well as a governance system. So it's a highly encompassing tool. It gives property owners oversight into their property. There's a lot of questions about how is the money I'm spending being used and being allocated, and how are those vendors being chosen. And so along with our request for proposal process, it gives owners and managers and vendors a protocol to understand their property more easily. So I'll continue. So today we'll talk about a few current events. You may know Minnesota. So the Department of Commerce in Minnesota had a discussion to have ombudsperson position for HOAs. So let's see, ombudsperson. Quote, an ombudsperson is a government employee who investigates and tries to resolve complaints, usually through recommendations or mediations. So, unquote. Appointed by government, identifies systemic issues leading to poor service. This is got to be a very controversial move. And here, this is from KSTP 5 ABC. And it looks like this might directly relate to what we've spoken about. There had been a question for a Minnesota HOA that had questions about, so they had a $17,000 assessment. After insurance, one owner had to pay $6,000 out of pocket, and 5 homeowners sued the HOA because of the HOA. So sued their own HOA after they got billed for the roofing, and the board president defended the replacement, many meetings and notices. The quote, a judge recently denied a motion to put a hold on the payment process until more information could be shared, unquote. And this is a link back to that mediation for the ombudsperson. And this is another example of why, so I'm not sure if people understand the context of what happened there, but an HOA had determined that its roofs need to be changed, need to be repaired. A work order was done and they made the repairs, and there was special assessments for $17,000, and there's a question as to whether the roofing company was in some way connected with the management company, and also there was a question as to whether the roofs were actually needing to be completed or needing to get this work done, and there may not have been the documentation protocol necessary. And that's one thing Zayuk does for properties. We provide you with a protocol to verify what your assets look like. Because so when you want to spend thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars for a single project, you want to know, I mean, having that history is important. And so getting our inspection, having that visualization proof, survey grade level visualization proof in a repository you can reference is important. And it really, unfortunately, like health, like many other things, people don't consider it until it's too late. But you surely want to consider it before, especially if you're in an HOA and you just want to secure your investment. You want to secure your investment, make sure you're invested in something that's appreciating, possibly that's out of your HOA's control, but you want to make sure that the curb appeal is good so that in reference to the communities around you, you are doing well, or just not struggling to maintain yourself, because HOAs are businesses, and it's difficult for people to understand when you purchase into one, you're purchasing into a business, and there's a lot of governance associated with that. So it looks like state lawmakers approved funding for the ombudsperson in Minnesota, the mediator between HOAs and homeowners. A lot of constituents, big complaints dealing with HOAs, lack of payments. And Minnesota has extreme weather in regards to snow, wind, temperature, and it changes the requirements of living there. Quote, a cap on HOA fines, a requirement that board members disclose any conflicts of interest, and rules calling for multiple bids on projects, unquote. And Zayuk does that. We provide you an RFP and proposal process. Hopes lawmakers will pass new HOA regulations in the next legislative session. Yes, the conflict of interest is important. She's hoping for more transparency between HOAs and homeowners. And it's in the whole industry, I'll tell you that. Like, the whole industry, I think, is adjusting to a more transparent system. And in several states, it's becoming legalized. Florida in particular, with their most recent bill, I believe that was 913. And California as well. The homeowner is being provided many privileges in the laws because the system is inherently difficult to manage. It is a decentralized property ownership system, decentralized in time and by unit. So that is very complex versus in REITs or institutional investors, where everyone there is just looking to invest, and there's nothing like, this is my home, this is my primary investment linked to a single property. It becomes very different with an HOA. And our software provides protocols to enhance your meetings, to enhance your work order system, and give you and bring that all into a survey grade level 3D environment, visual environment. And in the coming years, we will bring some very great AR, VR features into our system, probably in the coming months, and move from there. So let's continue. This is the DRC Denton Record Chronicle. An HOA's pond drain leads to wildlife issues. The pond at Sherman Drive and Hercules Lane in Northeast Denton. Beavers, Canadian geese, other wildlife. Wonderful little nature preserve with 12 different species of bird, fish, and beavers. Oh no. And the runoff from an HOA has polluted the area. That's unfortunate. What's unfortunate is I can't read the rest of the article. So I'll continue with something else. Here's another article about the Florida issue where a woman was arrested and actually served jail time for disputes with her HOA, which is very extreme when it isn't a embezzlement issue or a violence issue, which it wasn't. That's a very extreme result. So hopefully HOAs can avoid that. So this is from the LA Times. Woman faced $500 HOA fines for unapproved door. So this in regards to the new law 130 in California would no longer be allowed. Took effect July 1, fined up to $500 per day. Under the new rules, she now only owes $100. And this article by Jack Fleming of the Los Angeles Times is arguing that there is a debate between anti-HOA lawyers and HOA lobbyists about the extent of these rules. Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 130. The fines fee was capped at $100. And this one law was very last minute. It's very interesting. The overall quote by LA Times, the overall goal of the bill is to expedite housing by easing California Environmental Quality Act regulations for many products. But it also amends the Davis-Sterling Act, the framework that governs homeowners associations, unquote. Unless there's health or safety impacts capped at $100 per violation. Bans interest and late fees on violations, and prohibits HOAs from disciplining homeowners. So this had apparently been a part of another bill, Senate Bill 681. But then the HOA language, this is from, quote, supposedly Diane Peters of Tinley Law Group. the HOA language from SB 681 was added into AB 130 and passed 3 days later, which came as a huge shock. Fines aren't a money-making tool. Deterrents, there are huge deterrents. Short-term rentals, that's what's being mentioned here. It can easily become a huge abuse of power. And many people are happy about it. California has the most HOAs and most homes within HOAs, 1 million more than Florida. More than a third of Californians live in HOA communities. And nearly 2/3 of homeowners are part of an HOA. A woman was fined for replacing her lawn in San Ramon. Yeah, that should be interesting. Should be an interesting way to go about it. So this is by the Palm Beach Post about, give me a minute. All right. So milestone inspections and structural integrity reserves. And if you live in a condo building in Florida, please reach out to Zayuk. We do handle the milestone inspections. We integrate that within a software system that you will use and you will visualize and you will provide to your vendors to make bids on your buildings, on your property. Milestone inspections and structural integrity reserves, now limited to buildings with 3 or more habitable stories. Architects, engineers, contractors bidding on milestone inspections or related services must disclose conflicts of interest in writing. So reach out to us. We have licensed professional engineers handling the inspection, observing the inspection, and we use AI in this. This is where AI, again, we said AI vision. AI will be able to create, actually log everything, all the issues with your construction, and you will get that in a 3D model that is able to be visualized and provided to your vendors at a much cheaper price than, say, them coming out. It's going to be difficult to get all your vendors out there, but if they can understand the context of your property before they see it, which is what Zayuk does, it gives them power, it gives you power, it gives everyone power to better understand the context and to do better work and to present better proposals, which can be an issue. So that's one thing. alternate reserve funding for all multi-condominiums, video conference rules, management contracts, property insurance, official records, denial penalties. It's a very inclusive bill. It might be too much, but a lot of these bills become too much after a while. It's a very serious issue for Florida after the collapse 4 years ago of Champlain Towers. The state reacted in a way that actually hurt some condos because the requirements were too quick and too extreme for that level of turnaround. So they adjusted the requirements, but it's still understandable for Florida when their insurance market is skyrocketing. They did have that collapse, and it's fresh in everyone's mind who's probably in a high rise near the beach. And that's why this bill specifically calls out stories over buildings over 3 stories. It talks about reserve thresholds, uninhabitable buildings, pooling reserves, emergency powers. It's a very serious bill. And so becoming a homeowner, it's not easy. And so it's something to consider. All right, thank you, everyone. This live stream was brought to you by Zayuk. Zayuk is an HOA condo property system. We give you the information in a way that's digestible, give you your managers, give managers and vendors protocols to more easily understand the context of your property, to handle asset maintenance, construction maintenance, and maintain proof and verification of everything that was in the area. Thank you all. Have a great Friday and have a great weekend.